Welcome to Prep Beat. I'm TJ Holmes. I'm here with Thomas Lawrence. We got a couple of big games on tap this week. We got Valley Bowl, Central Valley hosting West Valley. We also have Paradise Enterprise. These two games, these are big ones on the year. We're going to start with Valley Bowl, which is the game of the week first. And this is a game that they split last year in the series. West Valley got the better of them in the semifinals, but CV did take that regular season that ended up getting them the NAL title.
Yeah, and going up to CV practice day, I was talking to their quarterback, Tim Naylor. He told me after that playoff loss, he and his teammates kind of sat out there in the rain, watched West Valley celebrate, kind of soaking that feeling like a team that loses the Super Bowl, watching the confetti fall. And, they hope to bring all of that pain and that frustration from last year into this game. And, West Valley lost the regular season version of this game. They'll be looking for a little redemption, too, and I know you were there to see that one last year.
Yeah, I was. And in that game, Central Valley basically had to do everything right to win that game at West Valley. And we knew that going in. They would have to play a perfect game, and they did. They controlled the line of scrimmage. They shut down that run, and they were very opportunistic on defense. They returned a touchdown, off an interception. So CV doesn't quite have to play as near as a perfect game as it did last season, but I still feel like they have to really minimize mistakes as much as possible to be able to get a win this week.
And one thing I know they're focusing on, it's really tough to completely stop West Valley's run game, but they want to stifle it. If CV is able to do that, put West Valley in some situations where they need to pass the ball, put some pressure on their sophomore quarterback, Cody Karpinski, that's where they want to be. They know West Valley can still convert in those situations, but that's, their key, at least defensively.
Yeah, and then you give CV 2 weeks to prepare, just like they did last year. 2 weeks to prepare for a team, that's a lot of time to stop one team, especially for a game that could be their biggest game of the year, which could decide, a top 2 seed and even a league title. So they're kind of putting, all their chips on the pile for this one. Another game that really has a lot of those playoff implications, I talked about earlier, Paradise Enterprise, that this could be for a league title and a top 2 seed as well. The last 3 times these two teams have played, it's been decided by a total of 5 points. So a lot of close games. 2 of the last 3 in the championship game, Enterprise winning both of those, including last year's section championship game. So this is a major matchup for both these teams, and then even for the rest of the EAL teams as well.
Yeah, a couple of teams that do like to run the ball different ways. We saw last week Enterprise Izzy Matthews broke this single-game school record down at Chico, 371 rushing yards. And even though Paradise is playing a foothill team that's rebuilding, still 500 rushing yards in that win. And for the old-fashioned football fan who likes the ground game, this could be a great Friday night for them for sure.
Yeah, Paradise has been rushing the ball like crazy. Enterprise as well. The thing about this is that Enterprise has proven that their defense can stop these heavy run teams, these wing T teams like they stopped Oakdale, West Valley, and CV. So they're ready for this Paradise. They spent all offseason and spring trying to stop the wing T, focus on that because they knew half their schedule was going to be against teams like that. So you look at that Enterprise defense, we know what we're getting with them. The question marks for me are Paradise. They gave up 26 points to PV, 27 points to Foothill. Both teams not very good offensively, so that's the major question mark for me going into this game.
Another team in the EAL that's had a bunch of question marks defensively is Chico. A couple weeks ago gave up 45 points in a collapse of a loss to CV, gave up 56 points to Enterprise last week, and that's where Red Bluff is headed this week. A couple of teams that really need a league win. Red Bluff had a chance to beat Shasta last week, even though they lost by 3 touchdowns. That game was theirs for the taking in some ways, and they kind of missed out on their chance.
Yeah, Red Bluff, we talk about playoff implications. It seems like every game for the rest of the year, it's really going to matter, Red Bluff trying to get back on track after 2 straight losses. Chico's at 1-4. Surprisingly, that's tough to say. So both these teams really need to win here, get back on track. Playoff implications, trying to get that positioning for a better playoff seed.
Yeah, that game, plenty about playoff positioning. Another one that's down in Chico could be just for a playoff spot in general as Foothill goes to PV. And Cougars not only looking for their first league win, but their first win on the season. But a brutal schedule, a lot on the road, a lot of difficult opponents. So this really could be their best chance to get in the win column so far.
Yeah, and kind of looking through some of the other games, you got Shasta, who's the only EL team not playing a league game this week. They're going to last in their first road game of the season. We're in the second half of the year, and they're playing their first road game of the year. Then you got a D3 matchup that's going to be a big time matchup, and Trinity going to Durham.
You know, Anderson goes to Wairika up north in the Northern Athletic League matchup. The one game that they almost won the league last year, didn't quite, trying to get it this time. And Mount Shasta hosts Pierce in the Sacramento Valley League opener in a D3 game.
Then you got unbeaten Reading Christian, still the #1 team in 8-man football, hosting Hayfork, who suffered their first loss last week. So for more high school football coverage and scores from Friday night's games, check out prepbeat.com.